Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Sunday evening. Hope everybody had a great weekend out there. Spent a little bit of time here with my kiddo this weekend. Had a chance to get out in the snow a little bit, built some ice castles and whatnot. Quite a bit of fun. Do want to apologize. I am still dealing with a little bit of a bad cough and stuffiness tonight, so going to really try hard to get through this video without losing a lung or spitting all over my camera or anything like that tonight. So might have to hit the mute button a couple times to apologize for that, but going to do my best to get through it. Overall, January, of course, was an interesting month for myself. Work travel, sickness, just kind of life continued to get in the way for me throughout the month. And I know that going back to early January, I put out a video where I discussed some of my hopes in terms of a weekly schedule, and for some of the different coverages I have between the Maine Mariners and the Bruins and NHL stuff. And yeah, I haven't come close to sticking to anything close to that, unfortunately. Gonna do my best to create some sort of consistency around here moving forward, but man, it has just proven really, really tough to stick to any sort of a real schedule. Gonna keep working on it and hope I can come up with something here to be just a little bit more consistent on the channel. So, with all that said, let's dive in to the Maine Mariners. I think we may have some things to talk about tonight. I think we may have some opinions and some things to share tonight. But 0-3 on the weekend, and now losers of five in a row going back to last week. 3-7 over the past 10 games. This weekend outscored between the two games against TR and Worcester 14-5. 14-5. Let's go back and take a quick peek at the Friday night game up there at Trois Rivières. Team, of course, losing 5-1. Maine did get the better of the shots, 35-33. Maine with the really good first period, 20 shots to 11 for TR. TR kind of flipped that in the second period, 15-6. Then Maine with 9 shots to 7 for TR. 0 for 1 on the power play and 1 for 3 for the Lions in that one. Bishop was in net, gave up 5 goals, 28 saves on 33 shots. And your lone goal scorer for Maine in that one was Willem DeVoe with his seventh of the season, assisted by a newcomer McDonald and Thompson on that one. Saturday, not much better, unfortunately, guys. And I know I had some friends up there actually here from Maine that went up there to Quebec to watch these games. So wish they could have seen a win. But Maine losing Saturday night 4-2. And I do believe, looking at the schedule initially, I think this one was initially scheduled for 7 o'clock, but they did play it at 3. So gave the Mariners a little bit of a break, got them home a little bit earlier. But they do lose 4-2. Maine did get outshot in this one, 37-27. TR with the edge in the first period, 12-6. TR again with the edge in the second period, 15-11, and then 10 apiece in the third. A little bit more power play action here for Maine, 1 for 4 on the power play, and TR 0 for 4. McCallum with his 14th of the season, with DeVoe and Thompson with the assist there, and then Bean kicking in with his sixth of the year. Zeke and Jermaine with the helpers on that one. Um, Meyer was in net for this one, gave up 4 goals, 33 saves on 37 shots. And then what did we see today? Back here at the Cross Insurance Arena, back in Portland. Um, a team that you're chasing. Not that you're not chasing TR, but legitimately chasing an actual chance to catch the Worcester Railers. Really hoping after 4 losses in a row, all those losses to TR, that you could come home and play a really good, consistent game and take this win, take the 2 points, out of their hands, and put you that much closer to the playoff spot. Didn't happen. Did not happen. 5-2 Railers today at the Cross Insurance Arena. Shots on goal not favorable for Maine at all, 40-25. So you didn't generate a lot if you're Maine. You gave up a lot of opportunities. 20 shots for Worcester in that first period, 20-10. Worcester getting the edge again, 12-8 in the second period, and 8-7 for Worcester in the third. Both teams 0 for 2 on the power play, so not very active in terms of a lot of penalties. Fairly clean game from that perspective. Um, Official back in net here, giving up the 4 goals, 35 saves on 39 shots. And I am going to cough real quick. Hit the mute button. Awesome. I'll try to edit that out later. Um, Goal scores here, DeVoe with his eighth of the season, Vidmar and Sarlo with the helpers there, McCallum with his 15th, again, Thompson and DeVoe with helpers there. I mean, this was a 2-2 game, going into that, third period, Maine getting that early one from McCallum, to make it 2-2, and you just, a little bit like the Boston Bruins, right? Giving up goals in bunches, getting some momentum, getting the score back to even, and then just kind of, for lack of a better term, pissing it all away. It does mimic a little bit what the Boston Bruins have done this season. It's been a little bit funny. I don't really feel like, I mean, I know the teams are affiliated, but it's just funny how they're kind of playing a similar style in some degree this year. Um, yeah, so tough one there. An opportunity kind of gone by the wayside to get back to winning ways and take, a couple points out of Worcester's hands, but it does not happen. After the weekend here, we are now 16, 23, and 3 with 35 points, still sixth in the North Division. Gonna just mute, take a little sip there of the old ginger ale, help the throat out. Um, yeah, listen, we've spent a lot of time talking about the playoff push and how the Mariners have, games in hand, right? We've talked a lot about that. But those games in hand, they're starting to shrink really fast now, guys, and they're not being cashed in with W's at this point. Um, so now the Mariners, you only have 1 game in hand on Worcester and only 2 on Reading, and the team is 7 points behind the 4th place Worcester and 6 points behind 5th place Reading at this point. And listen, we already talked about it. Like, Maine is 3-7 over the past 10. Well, the Railers 6-2, 1-1, and Reading 6-1, 2-1. So, you're losing ground on these teams right in front of you. You absolutely cannot afford that. Cannot afford it. 30 games left in the season. 17 of those are on the road. So, as I said last week, a number of matches with Reading. Yes, good. So, a chance to move the needle a little bit there, perhaps, but only one more matchup against Worcester for the base of the year. So, 30 games left. So, out of a possible 60 points left to gain from the schedule, how many of these points do the Mariners like logically need to finish fourth? So I took a quick dive into it, looking at Worcester sitting in fourth place. If they continue on their pace, they'll finish with right around 70 points on the season. So for Maine, if you want to get by them, that means you need a minimum of 36 points down the stretch. So that's 18 wins out of 30. That's playing 600 hockey. 18 and 12 or 18 and whatever, right? You got to be playing right around 600 hockey to get there. Is this team capable of that sort of run? I think it's a fair question to ask that at this point. Have we seen enough consistency with any aspect of their game to give, the fan base confidence that they can make that sort of run to the finish line? I think it's absolutely a fair question at this point. And I mean, my opinion is no. At this point, I don't think we've seen enough, but curious what you all think about that. Curious what you all think. From the weekend, though, Willem DeVoe, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points for him, so he did show out, had a good weekend. Thompson had 3 assists. McCallum also chipping in with 2 goals, so those are your kind of 3 stars of the weekend for the Maine Mariners. Just looking collectively at the season, some key stats right now for the team. Apologize for that one, guys. Minus 45 goal differential, worst in the division. And they've also given up the most goals in the division at this point, 151. And I do believe those numbers were updated. I waited for the updates from today's game. I believe those are updated numbers, but um, bad metrics there, guys. Goals for 106 on the season. So that's the lowest in the division. Not only lowest in the division, but tied for third lowest league wide. What are we at? 27, 28 teams in the league. So they are tied for third for lowest goals for. Indy is at the bottom right now at 90. And I looked at the games in hand. Some teams have played a couple games more, some a couple games less. So it's kind of negligible there in terms of the games played. Listen, guys, these numbers are what they are at this point. The play on the ice, as we know, hasn't been good enough. And metrically, looking at some of these numbers, it shares the same story, tells the same story. Specialty teams on the weekend, 1 for 7 on the power play. So, you kind of take that for what it is. The PK 8 for 9. So again, another good, strong PK. Team has been good on the PK for most of the season, and they've gotten that number up to 80.6. So that's been a silver lining. I do think it collectively as a team, as they've made the changes to the roster, the PK has found some identity. I think the real problem is you don't get a lot of momentum from it. Good teams, when they have a good PK, they build momentum from that. And maybe you've seen it in spurts throughout the season, but you haven't seen it enough. You haven't seen them use what really the PK might be a little bit of a weapon for you now. Um, you haven't seen enough momentum come from that. Power play did dip back under 17% at 16.8 on the season as well. So, yeah, not a great story when it comes to the metrics, when it comes to the numbers. Not good enough, anyway. As for transactions, we did have a trade earlier this week. Forward Aiden McDonald coming over from Kalamazoo for cash considerations. Player has some size, 6'4" from Langley, British Columbia. So a good Western Canadian kid. His ECHL career has taken him to Greenville for 2 seasons before his time there in Kalamazoo. Numbers for him in his ECHL career: 193 games played, 45 goals, 47 assists, 92 points. So has a little bit of a scoring touch, has some size. Also did play for France or in the French league there, I think 4 games during this season for Gap HC. So did register an assist on Friday, so that was good to see. But only one shot through the 3 games so far with Maine. Hard to criticize him too much, getting to know the team. And let's be honest, the team hasn't been playing very well offensively. But yeah, the guy has a little bit of a scoring touch, has some size. I think a good fit. You really give up just a little bit of cash. So nothing wrong with that move there. Upcoming schedule for the boys, you got to go all the way to next Friday. 2 games at home against the Norfolk Admirals. 7:15 puck drop on Friday from the Cross Insurance Arena. Hoping to be there myself for that one. Been a little bit since I've been able to get out to the arena for a game, so hoping to be there for that. And then Saturday the 8th, 6 p.m. drop there. Once again against the Norfolk Admirals. After that, though, the boys will not be back home for about a month. It'll be March 7th. So we got a month of road games coming up after next weekend. So if you're wanting to get to a game, next weekend's going to be your last chance for a bit. Go get those tickets. Go right over there to marinersofmaine.com and buy your tickets. Get them locked in. Norfolk, of course, sitting comfortably in third place right now, 26-14-3 for 55 points. They are 13 points ahead of fourth place Worcester. So, yes, sitting very comfortably. Hey, maybe they're getting a little fat and happy up there. That wouldn't be a bad thing for us for next weekend. The Mariners on the season 1-5-1 versus Norfolk. So, not great so far. Hoping we can turn the tide there next week and get a couple wins. The team absolutely needs it, of course. The Admirals do have 1 game at Reading on Tuesday before they head up here for that weekend series. So they could do us a big favor by beating Reading on Tuesday. We would really appreciate that, boys. And then come up and, uh, you know, maybe let us get a couple wins. That'd be great. Right? Just anything, guys. We need a win. We need a win. Um, I digress. But As we already know, of course, local kid, Biddeford, Maine kid, Brady Florent leads this team. He has 20 goals, 34 assists for 54 points on the season. That's through 43 games for him. Right now, he actually sits first league wide in assists and second league wide in total points. So having just an excellent year for himself, easily his best professional season. So great to see that out of a Maine kid. Love it. Absolutely love it. Um, so I do want to pose a question or two to all you Mariner fans out there tonight. Because I know there are a lot of you that care mightily about this team. Knowing what we know about the roster, about the team this year, seeing the results, especially against teams like Trois Riviere and Norfolk. Haven't played Wheeling much, so I'll kind of leave them out of it for now. W But will you, as a fan or as a season ticket holder, be satisfied with a playoff appearance this season? Now, just a playoff appearance only, like no winning a round or making a super competitive series in the first round, just a playoff appearance. Would that fulfill your expectations for this season? Have your expectations changed from October until today after what we've seen? I ask these questions in all seriousness as I'm trying to find some analytics or some numbers or something from certain games or maybe a stretch of play that I can tell a positive story for Maine if they happen to sneak into that number four spot. The one thing that comes to mind, maybe the PK, right? But yeah, I'm not finding much to hang my hat on. If, and I say if, the Mariners make it in, do they have a shot of advancing to the second round? They've never advanced beyond the first round, as we know, in their short history here in Maine. But after what we just saw this weekend, I think the answer has to be no, right? It has to be no. Like, I don't think there's anything that we can look at that would make us feel confident that they could get by a first round matchup. Or do we as a fan base just take that approach and say, hey, just get in however you can, get into the playoffs and worry about the rest of it later. Let's not worry about that. Let's just get in and see what happens. Take our shot. My take right now is that if we can fight hard for 30 games, which is what we have left, earn a seat at that playoff table, the Mariners, I do believe, will be a heavy, heavy underdog going into that first round matchup. Whether it be TR or Wheeling, who knows, maybe Norfolk, it's going to be tough, you know? Uh, so if that's the potential, ceiling for this club this season, meaning if first round and first round exit, are you satisfied with that? As a fan, as a season ticket holder, I'm not going to put words in anybody else's mouth here, but I know it won't be good enough for ownership. I know it won't be good enough for Coach Wall and other coaching staff or the players. But I am having a hard time seeing this team getting in, first of all, and winning a round, second of all. I hope I'm wrong. Trust me, and I'm sure most of you listening are hoping I'm wrong too. I want to be wrong on this one in so many ways, right? I would trust me. I would be so happy to get a tongue lashing from the coaches or from the organization, if they're listening to this, and if I'm wrong, that would be great. I'd have no problem. Hey, Coach Wallen, you want to make me do laps? I haven't skated in like 20 years, but you want to make me do some laps and burn my legs out a little bit as punishment? I would be happy to do so and be wrong on this one. But yeah, everybody, please leave those comments down below. Would love to hear from you on this topic. It's one that yeah, we can sit here and watch the games and get kind of pissed off how they've been performing. But let's talk about the reality. If we're able to get in, what's the likelihood of moving on to a second round? And if that's our ceiling is a first round exit, are we okay with that based on what we've seen? I'm just again really curious to hear what y'all have to say on that. All right, guys. Well, that's what I have for you tonight. I'll be back later this week with some Boston Bruins takes. We have a whole lot of things to talk about there with the bees, and of course, last win there against the Rangers after just a couple of just awful, awful performances against Winnipeg and Buffalo. All sorts of trade rumors and trade speculation. What should the team do? Should they be buyers? Should they be sellers? Should they be something in between? Gonna talk about all those kinds of things. Take a look at the NHL news. Of course, a lot of trades being made and any other things that happening around the league. Of course, the NHL getting close to breaking for that Four Nations tournament. coming up. We have just about another week left of games before that happens. Of course, Boston, one of the host cities for that tournament, so definitely be worth grabbing some tickets and checking that out if you can. I think it'd be just a heck of an event. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you do like what you're hearing, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. I know I say it at the end of every video. It's really, really important to the channel. Really trying to grow that subscriber base. So, if you haven't hit that like button, if you have other hockey fans that you know that are looking for something new and different to listen to, please share my stuff out. Would absolutely love that from you guys. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.